So we choose an emotion, right? Choose an emotion. If we are already used to it and everything has become automatic, for example, what do we usually do, right? If, say, your spouse came home late from work and it annoys you and you start getting angry like this, then you talk to him, then shout, maybe? Oh, let's say, for example, yes, this destroys your life and you can't do anything about it anymore. Just takes and goes. I simply want to shout at him now. What on earth brought you here so late in the evening? What actions should I take? How can I calm down? Let's take a deep breath and exhale slowly. It is within our reach. First of all, when you start working on the selection of emotions, that is, you want to change some emotion, that is, get rid of excessive nervousness, let's say, aggressiveness, anger, everything that drags us down. Don't forget, emotion creates a state. So don't think I'll just show my emotions now and then they'll pass on their own. No. If you tighten it, it will change into a real state. Therefore, these are not toys. This will be your mood later. And how to exit from there, it is also extremely energy consuming, by the way, for your body and for your psyche. So you will have to invest energy and effort to get into a normal state, a joyful, positive state. So, in case you have descended to a great depth, then you will need to expend your own energy, demonstrate willpower to elevate yourself. Descending is always easier than ascending. You will be greatly upset, enter a stressful state, and then you will have to extricate yourself from this stress. Is there a necessity for us to have this at all? Is it not a more convenient approach to gradually reduce speed and alter this particular emotion into something else entirely different? Ask yourself what stress, shouting, tears, and offense give you in this moment of reflection. What do you obtain from this? Let us be truthful. We obtain absolutely nothing. We are just losing. Someone will call it a warm-up, an emotional warm-up. If you don't shout right now, it will get even worse for you. Why should it get worse? Let's say, yes, let's call it anger, which you have. This feeling, this unpleasantness inside gathered. Here it is like a spring has started. If you apply pressure to a spring, it will rebound. In principle, I used to have the same opinion before, but at this moment, I have completely altered my opinion, and I have personally conducted a test on myself to verify its validity. Indeed, I used to be quite an emotional individual prior to this, both in moments of happiness and in times of sadness, so to speak. And from my point of view, I can confidently say that it is undeniably very energy-consuming. Even with an idea and motivation, the energy just bursts and hits you, providing a sudden burst of inspiration. And then, when everything settles down, you feel hollow like a ball or an empty bucket. So I'm not suggesting being constantly like a zombie at the same level. No. Emotionally, fluctuations in emotions are positive and beneficial. I am not referring to the negative aspects at the moment. They are undoubtedly beneficial. It is a source of joy. That is to say, we aim to demonstrate, that is, to experience joy through laughter, through various joyful screams. This is great. However, it's always essential to maintain a balance. That is, not to go too far, not to go too deep, so that you don't know how to return yourself back to a state, to return to this normal, conscious state later. Therefore, and what about the negative? Let's envision we do not desire the spring to explode in any circumstance. If this spring is assembled, let's say, this energy is not pleasant, but in fact we just have a state. Let's say we have an unpleasant state. Is it possible to alter this state? We describe it as unpleasant, we label it as bad. I can't say that someone will betray you now and you will be happy about it. Of course, we are all normal, reasonable people. However, at the very least, it is important to smooth out the corners in order to avoid incurring a significant amount of energy losses, as well as unnecessary quarrels and conflicts. This energy has the potential to be released in a very constructive manner outward. Let's say, for instance, the energy of anger. Naturally, you feel highly active, extremely active. Indeed, you walk rapidly, you breathe rapidly, you have blood rushing to your face, you feel it at this very moment, you cannot calm down, sit down, and engage in a calming activity. What actions can you take to deal with it? Yell, curse, or make constructive use of this energy until you become tired and exhausted. Here you possess an energy reserve, and it is in a negative state. Unfortunately, you cannot feel happy about this negative value right now, at this moment, because let's say something genuinely caused you discomfort internally. To release this energy through physical tasks, movements, and physical actions. However, it is not only the fact that I began performing physical actions, and what's more, it aroused me. Yes, because engaged tasks, movements, and participation, once again, provides energy, correct? So if we want to go from laziness to activity, we start moving. So what do we need to do here? If you simply commence moving and you start to feel angry, then it ultimately results in intensifying your anger by this, let's say, this particular given energy that you have. Either you need to extinguish it, feeling exhausted and unable to initiate any conversation whatsoever, so fatigued, that is the extent of it. I have no energy. Yes, I have constructed the entire house, or I pressed and smoothed out the wrinkles on 3 wardrobes there for a whole month, but I am not exactly sure. Or I squeezed myself in there, did a bunch of squats, and worked out for a total of 2 hours. Well, I'm really done, I can't. Not to mention talking there, I don't want to, I can't sit. The experience turned out to be incredibly energy-consuming for me, to such an extent that I simply have no desire to engage in any other activities or participate in discussions about anything else at this point in time. Presently, my sole desire is to indulge in swimming and then proceed to retire for the night. When you finally settle into bed, you will experience a state of complete calmness and relaxation, as if this particular spring season had never even existed. Then you have the chance, so to speak, with a calm mind, with your rational mind, to think, analyze the situation, how to prevent scandal, quarrel, offense, and other similar situations that may arise and so forth, and make informed decisions based on careful consideration and reflection. So you can talk to a person, let's say, yes, with a partner that I liked. Well, let's go back, for example, that the husband came late and you got angry. I desire to reside with my spouse. I adore my spouse. My spouse has affection for us, you. What tasks are still pending? Quarrels have the power to completely destroy everything. If you do not like the fact that he arrives late, aggression and attack will not be of any assistance in improving the situation. What will save? A proper, constructive, and well-spoken conversation. Not as an insult, humiliation, and poking at his something or someone here. So he made a mistake, correct? He behaved inappropriately, displaying bad conduct. There is no need. What is the reason? Thus, this provides an opportunity to approach the issue wisely and deal with it the following morning. Maybe, in some way, practice in your mind how to communicate to your partner the reality that you are not completely satisfied with it as you desire, but to talk to him in a way that he has no negative residue, i.e., no unpleasant aftertaste after the conversation. In the upcoming videos, we will explore the topic of communication, and there will be a dedicated section or a series of videos specifically focused on this aspect. Stay tuned for more details and valuable insights on effective communication in our forthcoming content. However, nonetheless, let's wrap up the summary on this. What can be beautifully expressed can be constructively elaborated upon in a conversation if desired, as per your preference and as you would like it to be. So, dear, I understand everything. You get tired. You're such a hard-working person. You're so smart. I comprehend the level of effort you put in, your strength, and more, and more, and more. However, I would be extremely delighted if you arrive sooner. You are so fatigued, you are depleting your health. In other words, a completely different language. Convey to the individual what you desire. Believe me, you will not achieve your achieved goal, your desired goal, through quarrels. So, it does not matter if you, for instance, shout, insult, or reproach. The individual will enter into a normal self-defense mode of protection and defense. So, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't want to have this convo right now, or I don't want to continue the convo in this tone. An emotion-based conversation brings nothing but a quarrel, disappointment in your husband, an unpleasant feeling, and coldness in your relationship. Based on emotions yield no benefits, only negative outcomes. And moreover, in addition to all this, you will also lose your own energy. You will be in such a stressful, or again, unpleasant internal state, possibly for a day, possibly 2, possibly 3, until everything returns to normal again. So it is not required. Let us have a glimpse of another example for better understanding. Imagine that there is a man who holds a position of authority. He is a boss, and he simply doesn't like it when he is interrupted or his train of thought is disrupted. Here is his trigger. Yes, we all have some triggers. Not everyone, but most people have some triggers. Triggers for music, for words, for actions, and so on and so on. One from our distant childhood. Let's say, for instance, that this man starts to feel nervous. That is, he enters a state of stress and begins to exhibit aggressive behavior, you could say, when he is interrupted or disturbed in any way that disrupts his focus or concentration. He absolutely cannot tolerate it. He is a boss, that is, in the team, so to speak. The team is under his leadership. Maybe this can be understood. This can somehow, well, like the boss shouted and everything is fine. Let's assume that this boss wants to organize his personal life. He encounters a lady, and he has a strong liking for her, a really strong liking. And he desires indeed to take action with her in order to establish a strong and profound relationship. We are all human beings. Perhaps at some point in the future, this woman may develop a desire, whether conscious or unconscious, to kill him, either wanting or not wanting to do so. That is, we are all human beings. We all make mistakes. And imagine that this boss with such a hair-triggered temper, which starts shouting immediately, simply destroying everything around, will start attacking his lady, causing chaos and harm in their relationship. In this way. What do you think in the place of this lady? How will she feel with such a wonderful man, but like a phoenix, flaring up as soon as she tries to insert something, some word into his conversation? So it is an unpleasant situation. It can be problematic for relationships, so it has the potential to scare a lady. She may simply refuse to accept such a tone towards herself, and it's crucial to honor her boundaries and emotions in this situation. Relationships can terminate on this in principle. What to do? You can prepare in advance. Here is where emotional self-control begins. How can I learn? Elementary technique. Affordable. Simply requires consistent repetition and dedicated practice to become proficient. So, if you are not fond of any emotions that arise in you just like that pop-pop in response to any triggers or just to the situation, but you know that it would be better, more constructive to utilize some other emotion or to maintain a state of calm in this emotion, in this situation, without resorting to any stressful emotion, that is, negative emotion. What actions can we take? We have the option to practice, initially rehearse, and prepare ourselves before the onset of the actual situation that we will encounter. As previously mentioned, our brain does not perceive reality. It is incapable of perceiving reality from unreality. If all sensory factors are enabled, let's say affirmative, I see, hear, feel. If the picture is so vivid that you feel like you are really experiencing this situation, then in principle, you can only experience the situation in your own mind, without the involvement of other team members. So envision yourself in the position of this man. What actions would he take? What options would he have to alter the situation? At the beginning, make arrangements for the potential scenario where the woman, who is beloved, might interrupt him or express a desire to interject her own thoughts into his conversation. What are we doing? Relaxing. Relaxing, aligning our breathing, entering the state of alpha relaxation, tranquility, and alpha state is when you're in a very calm state prior to sleep. Imagine that you're feeling extremely tired. and on the verge of falling asleep. I don't want to scroll through my phone. You turned off your phone or simply put it away, turned off the TV, and went to bed. Here you are in a calm, relaxed state. You're not sleeping yet, but you're no longer active. So your brain is slowly calming down. And theta state is when the activity of your brain decreases even further. So you are in a state that is something between half asleep and asleep. This alpha and theta state is employed in practices such as hypnosis, meditation, and auto-training. This condition is extremely important, and I particularly want to create a separate video specifically addressing it. Why? Because you could say it is a container filled with valuable and precious items. Box. Not even a box, but a chest of treasures that are within your reach and can be obtained by you if you possess the knowledge and comprehension of how to utilize this chest to its full potential and extract the valuable contents it holds within. So we have a subconscious and consciousness. Consciousness is what we realize, yes, who I am, what I am. We wake up, we remember what is happening in general, and how everything slowly but surely we enter into this activity, into this awareness and so on, into a conscious state. However, consciousness is undeniably a specific place or state of being that is beyond any doubt or uncertainty. Location. Not even the location. This is something akin to a black box or a secure container where our brain stores information that is not needed or relevant at the present moment in time. Either she is excessively traumatic or she will interfere significantly with the quality of our lives. So, everything is set up to work for the owner. We are the owner. We are the owner. Hostess. Subconscious mind removes everything unnecessary from subconscious mind. What triggers? Also related to the subconscious. Well, I won't rush and mix one with the other. So what are we doing? Why is this very important? At this moment, when you calm down, you enter into this state, when the subconscious mind opens up a little bit and becomes more accessible. If you possess any automated action or trigger, could you please explain what a trigger is? An event took place once in the distant past, or yes, most likely, in the distant past. And this specific situation greatly shocked and deeply affected you. And the music at that moment, certain events, similar to, there was a circumstance, music, words, something was simply hooked, like an anchor, that is, hooked on a fishing rod. Yes, and it turned into an anchor, turned into a trigger. Then all of this went into the subconscious mind. What does this mean? This is a stimulus for reproducing a habitual reaction or sensation, that is, a word, an action, some music, some circumstances can be a trigger for a person to start behaving automatically, as they did in the past. These stimuli serve as reminders of previous experiences, prompting individuals to respond in familiar ways without conscious thought or effort. That's why sometimes you meet people who are, in principle, quite adequate, normal, successful, but suddenly something happens, some click in a certain circumstance, and the person behaves inadequately, can shout, can get nervous, can leave, slam the door, can do absolutely some inadequate things. Why is this happening? Because she came out, she emerged into this automation,